Derek Rydall here, founder of the Law of Emergence and author of the best-selling books Emergence and the Abundance Project. And I want to talk about a very, very critical principle today around why adapting to conditions can destroy your progress. And this is no small idea here. It's an idea that has saved my life many times, but more importantly, it's an idea that has allowed me to continue to grow myself, grow my life, grow my work, grow my wealth, grow my health, grow my love and community in the midst of crisis, in the midst of loss, in the midst of downturns and recessions. It's a principle I teach very in depth in my Awaken Wealth work, which, by the way, I'll be releasing a bunch of free trainings coming up here a couple days, actually. So stay tuned for that. If you're not on my list, definitely go to DerekRydall.com, go into the free resources, opt in for something just to get on the list so you don't miss all these free training. But basically, one of the Awaken Wealth, one of the 5 hypnotic wealth spells is that we must adapt to conditions. That's the belief, right? Adapt or die. And it's actually a hypnotic spell that's based on the belief that conditions are what determine our ultimate outcomes. That the conditions determine our destiny. But that is false. Conditions do not determine your destiny. Your character does. Your consciousness does. And your character is built on your habits. And your habits are based on what you do consistently. And that is based on what you're committed to. And that is based on what your vision and your values are. So it's vision and values, focus. It's commitment to practicing those that build habits, that develop the program of your character, the activity of your consciousness. That is what determines your destiny, not conditions. Conditions are coagulated thought forms, old ideas and beliefs that have solidified into experience, okay? But they have no power of themselves. All power is in consciousness. If you adapt to conditions, if you are always adapting to what things appear to be, you will go down with the ship, okay? Now, there's one way in which adapting is appropriate, and it's the evolutionary adapting. And evolutionarily, natural selection is a process that conditions are created for the better version of you to emerge. I really want you to hear this distinction. Adapting in a way that makes you stronger, adapting in a way that makes you better, adapting in a way that makes you bigger, clearer, wiser, smarter. That's the kind of adaptation that is good. Evolution doesn't adapt down, it adapts up. It doesn't invest itself to the lowest common denominator. It invests itself to the highest potential, right? That's why evolutionarily, we don't just have a bird with one wing, because as it evolved and as the idea of bird evolved, really emerged, because the idea was there, it was creating the right conditions and testing out what would allow it to express itself in the most powerful, most productive, most effective, most efficient way. And it saw that 2 wings were better than 1. And so that's why I always say, when if the weight is too heavy, you don't pray to make the weight lighter. That's the wrong adaptation. That's adapting backwards and downwards. You pray to get stronger. If something is far out of reach, you don't pray merely to bring it closer. That makes you weak. That makes you lazy. You pray to have your reach get longer, right? So the proper form of adaptation is to always deal with the contraction, to approach a limited condition, and always seek to expand in the face of a contraction. I remember years ago when we had a recession, and I saw myself starting to cut back on everything, and I caught myself, and I'm like, wait a second, that's not the principle. I need to expand in the face of this contraction. Now, that doesn't mean to be stupid. That doesn't mean go out and spend all that wasted money on things you don't even need. Or frivolously, if you're in an environment where there's way too many houses and there's way too many things and there's nobody buying any houses. So now I'm going to go spend $1 billion and build a housing community. I'm saying there's obviously good stewardship. But for the most part, fundamentally speaking, when we have been conditioned that when a condition shows up that is limited, we shrink to match it. And that is the worst thing you can possibly do. We cut down. During this recession that I went through, I expanded my charitable giving. I expanded my investment of time, talent, and treasure into my life, into my work, into my education, into my well-being. And while other friends and family members began to lose houses and jobs and depression and lack of optimism and lack of creative opportunity, on the other side of that recession, I had more possession of myself. I had greater abundance. I was more positioned to thrive and to succeed and to launch in a whole bigger way because I took what appeared to be a downtime, I took what appeared to be a valley, and I developed my mountaintop mindset. Like in a stock market dip, you buy on the dips, you get things at a discount. When it goes back up again, you make more money. So, or in a relationship, if suddenly there's a contraction where your partner doesn't seem to be loving you as much or valuing you as much or respecting you as much, you don't go, well, fine, I'm going to close my heart too. I'm going to contract too. I'm going to give as good as I get. Because guess what you'll get on the other side of that? Nothing. Your relationship will shrink. Your capacity to love will shrink. Your sense of optimism and power and vision will shrink. You do not want to adapt to limited conditions. You are an infinite, individualized expression of life. All of life is in you. Infinite power, infinite wisdom, infinite abundance, infinite truth, infinite beauty, infinite intelligence. The condition does not determine who you are. The conditions do not determine who you can be and what you can do, even if temporarily it appears to limit you. Nelson Mandela was thrown into prison unfairly for 26 years, I believe it was. Now, if he had adapted to that condition when he came out, if he even made it out, he would have been a shrunken, shriveled up old man with so much bitterness and cynicism that he would have amounted to nothing. But what did he do? He dug deep. He expanded his capacity to love, to forgive. He deepened his wisdom and his knowledge. He invested every penny of his being into growing and becoming his best self. And he emerged more powerful, more loving, more wise, and he became the president of South Africa. He ended apartheid. And so we must not shrink to fit our condition. We must not shrink and adapt to the limited condition. Instead of telling your little God about your big problem, start telling that little problem about your big God. Instead of being afraid of what you're facing, tell what you're facing to be afraid of you. Because what it's facing is God, is life, is the great presence and infinite power and potential of existence itself. That's who you are. As it says in the Bible, prove me in this, and I will open up the windows of heaven and pour you forth a blessing too big for you to receive. It's saying in the midst of the challenge, in the midst of what appears to be a lack of faith, in the midst of what appears to be lack, prove that I'm in the midst of that. Prove that the great I am. Prove that life is victorious in the midst of that. Prove that in the midst of you, I am mighty. And I will expand your territory. I will open up the windows of heaven. I will pour a blessing forth so big you can't even handle it. And your only prayer will be, just keep making me bigger so I can receive all the grace and the glory and the good that's flowing through me and to me. You do not want to adapt to conditions. Right now we're being bombarded with all kinds of beliefs and memes and appearances. And again, be a good steward. Take care of yourself, wash your hands, isolate if you need to, quarantine, lockdown, all that stuff. But expand in the face of this contraction. Make a decision to invest more time and energy in the things that matter most to you. Develop your talents, gifts, and abilities like never before. Invest in building the platform for your life's work. Invest in it. Invest in education, knowledge, coaching, support, whatever you need to lay the foundations to thrive, to get bigger, and ultimately to succeed long term. And that investment, now more than ever, is going to set you up really truly to have a breakthrough and to explode in your life, in your love, in your work like never before. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I've done. I'm telling you what I've seen and what I've helped other people do. You do not want to shrink right now. You don't want to shrink back. You don't want to pull back. You don't want to just take a vacation. You don't want to just curl up under a blanket and watch Netflix all day. You can watch it a little bit. There's some good stuff on there. And we all get to take care of ourselves and just chill out and rest and relax. And if you're having sadness and fear, you want to hold those parts of you and love those parts of you, but you don't stop. You don't shrink to fit the fear. You say, hey, fear, I see you. I hear you. Go on, get in the back seat because I'm still going. Give your fear an iPad with some games to play and keep going. Keep growing. Keep investing your time, talent, and treasure, not down to the lowest common denominator, but up to the highest vision. Look at Walt Disney going bankrupt, trying to build Disney. Didn't stop, and look what created. Look at Steve Jobs, even when he's getting rejected, continued to and kicked out of his own company. Look at Elon Musk, almost bankrupt, continued to invest. Look at Oprah Winfrey, even when they're like, you're crazy, everything's going to fail, you can't create spirituality on a network TV, she doubled down. Look at Edison, failing at the light bulb over and over and over. He continued to go. You do not adapt to conditions. You do not shrink when there's fear and failure. You dig deeper. You ask more beautiful questions. What is the great vision emerging as me? What is the great opportunity emerging on the planet? Who do I need to become to be positioned, to be the channel, to be an instrument of real change and real good in my life, my loved ones' lives, and the world? Use me, life. Use me, love. Use me, God. Make me an ever pure instrument. I'm willing. I'm ready. I'm not going to try to save my life. What did one master say? If you try to save your life, you'll lose it. But if you're willing to lose your life for my sake, you'll have life eternal, life everlasting. What is the my sake? It's not Jesus. It's for the Christ or the Buddha or the truth, the highest potential within man and woman. That's what you're willing to lose your old life for, your past life. That's what you're willing to put your life on the line for, is for the greater expression of life as you. We're not here to save ourselves or the world. We're here to serve what's emerging. And life is emerging. Love is emerging. A whole new level of abundance is emerging. A whole new level of wisdom and power is emerging. The kingdom of God, nirvana, ultimate reality, the platonic forms, none of that has been damaged or diminished by any condition in history, and it never will be. And that's where we really live and have our being. That's not where we're on our way to. That's where we're coming from. You are the light. You are coming from the light. You're not on your way to it. You are the wealth. You're not on your way to it. You are the health. You are the wisdom. You are the genius. I am not on my way. I am the way. I'm not merely a seeker of truth. I am the truth. On my way to a greater expression of it. That's who you are. That's who we are. And now more than ever, we have to double down on our investment in ourselves, in our work, in our hearts, in our personal growth, in our skills, in our mindsets. We do not shrink. Look at all the greatest leaders, artists, innovators, entrepreneurs throughout history. In the midst of challenge and crisis, they did not shrink. whether it was personal crisis or a larger crisis. They dug in, they dug deep, they doubled down, and they became more. And even though they didn't see all the results in the moment, because you may not, eventually those deep roots brought about very rich fruits and very, very tall shoots. Like the Chinese bamboo tree that you plant and you water and you feed and you weed, and nothing happens in year 1, and you continue to believe and have faith and nothing happens in year 2, and on this goes for several years. And if you haven't decided to go kill the person that sold you those Chinese bamboo seeds or give up altogether, in the 5th year, it grows in about what seems to be overnight. In a couple weeks, it grows like 8 or 9 stories tall. Massive. And you could think, oh my God, it's an overnight success. No. It's been growing the whole time. It's just building the root system capable of holding up and sustaining such a magnificent and majestic being. You're the same. Now, I'm not saying it's going to take you 5 years. I'm just saying when you invest in yourself, in your growth, in your realization of the truth, in becoming the change you want to see, you don't always see it right away. Don't stop. Keep doing the work. Keep getting support. Keep showing up to your life. And I promise you, if you align yourself with these principles, they must begin to operate in your life. Do not adapt to conditions unless you are adapting in such a way to become stronger, to become bigger, to become more. I love and appreciate you all for being here. And hey, Eric, good to see you, brother, and Eduardo, and various people here. I really appreciate you all. Comment below, share your thoughts, share it with your loved ones. We don't have to hold it all together. We're holding it all together, as some of my best friends say. We're in this together, and we're going to take it to the next level together. And until next time, remember to live authentically, to love unconditionally, and to follow your destiny.